We're sticking with Japan for this next one, but returning to an old internet mystery I covered quite some time ago. One that's since had a huge breakthrough. I'm sure this image needs no introduction, but for the two of you who aren't aware, this is Jeff the Killer, the titular character of an old creepypasta about a teenage slayer with a mutilated face. The associated image depicts him as a male with a pale face, no nose, and distinct black rings around his eyes. After the creepypasta gained notoriety, this photo started appearing on image boards and in jump-scare videos across the net, and has since become more famous than the story itself. And where most images from the creepypasta era have faded from people's memories, this one persists. Yet despite being so notorious, it's only in the past few years that most people have started to wonder about its source. That is, where did this image originally come from? And who was the model? I mean, it is obviously a real photo, one that's been manipulated to hell and back. But who created it? And crucially, from which source image? For the past decade, web sleuths across the globe have been playing detective, trying to track down the unedited photo behind this image and unveil the face of the real person that Jeff's based on. And it's actually been a wilder search than you might think. But to refresh your memory before the update, here's a quick rundown of where we were the last time I covered this. What many people think of as the original Jeff story hit the internet in 2011, posted to the Creepypasta Wiki by GameFuel TV. But although that's the most well-known iteration of the story, the character of old Jeffy was actually first conceived in 2008 by a guy called Sousa. Sousa posted this short background on Jeff to Newgrounds, along with the now infamous picture. In an interview with Scare Theatre, Sousa claimed that the picture was a self-portrait, one which he had taken while wearing a white latex mask and a pair of plastic eyes. He couldn't prove this, however, because he had lost the mask soon after taking the photo. But let's be honest, we all know that's not the case. Firstly, because the image is obviously photoshopped and not a mask. And secondly, because Sousa's post is far from the first time this image appeared on the internet. 1 year earlier, in 2007, a Japanese video titled NNN Special Broadcast was uploaded to YouTube. The video itself is a recreation of a then popular Japanese urban legend, one that centered around a late-night news broadcast. According to the story, a young man who was having trouble sleeping turned on his TV at 2:30 AM. He switched channels to the Nippon News Network, but was met with nothing but static. Then, suddenly, coloured bars filled the screen. The words NNN Rinji Hoso appeared against a backdrop of an abandoned factory. A list of seemingly random names scrolled down the screen, followed by the words Tomorrow's Sacrifice. The implication being that all the named individuals would die the next day. The broadcast supposedly ended with several weird images and sound effects. This YouTube recreation stays true to the legend, but what's interesting is that at the very end, the Jeff the Killer image briefly flashes on screen, just before the video cuts to black, and we're left with the message, Oyasuminasai. Good night. As it turned out, the famous Jeff image actually had Japanese roots. Working backwards from there, internet detectives have been able to trace the evolution of the Jeff image over time. What you're looking at now is the incarnation of the photo that most people are familiar with, which r/original JTK image refer to as JTK2. It first appeared on the Japanese message board pr.cc on November 16th, 2005. The post, titled Kwa ya 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 ya, or Scary ah ya 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 ya, was made by user OmegaVault and featured the caption, "Which one are you afraid of?" implying the existence of another edit. This was likely a reference to its predecessor, JTK1. This even earlier version of the Jeff image, which is clearly far less edited than the version that we're used to, appeared on the same site on September 10th, 2005, in a post made by user Mr. Mulholland, one titled White Powder Part 2. The words below the image read, "Go out with me." Mr. Mulholland himself later revealed that he had found the image on a website called Fileman, under the name Fear of a Summer Night. This is now the farthest back that we can trace JTK1, though comments made under the post on Fileman indicate that users had already seen the image at an even earlier date. Indeed, a link on pr.cc with the name White Powder has since been found, and is a potential contender for an even earlier instance of the JTK image, as it stated February 3rd, 2004. But unfortunately, that link wasn't archived, and whatever that image is has been lost. On Twitter, Mulholland explained that in mid-2005, there was a viral video bouncing around on Japanese websites, one of a middle-aged Asian woman. It was his belief that the source image was a screen grab taken from that same lost video, one which internet users then manipulated and shared around to make each other scream, or in most cases, laugh. One of those manipulations was JTK1. At some point between September and November 2005, somebody, likely Omegavolt, took JTK1, altered the eyes and elongated the mouth, and transformed it into what we know as Jeff. As some have suggested, the stretched mouth may be a play on Kuchisake Onna, the split-mouth woman from Japanese folklore, though I think there's a different Japanese connection to be made here. Around the same time that the images were posted to pr.cc, there was a popular trend amongst Japanese internet users called Kawaii Kusasete. In English, the Let Me Be Cute challenge. This was particularly popular on the image board 2 channel. Essentially, users would upload an innocent picture and then ask other users to make me cute. One user would then make creepy edits to the picture and turn it into something more kawaii than kawaii. Someone else would then take that altered image and make further creepy edits themselves. This would go on, with the picture becoming more and more cursed over time. During the process, the original image would often get lost, with different edit chains branching off and becoming their own thing entirely. Indeed, as Blame It On Jorge pointed out in his first exploration of this mystery, when exploring the EXIF data on JTK2, we can see that it originally went by a different name, Pretty Face. A fitting layer name for the Let Me Be Cute challenge, don't you think? User L from the JTK Image Search official Discord conducted some digital image forensic analysis on JTK 1 and 2 and came to some interesting conclusions. For example, that the resolution of the source image was 320 by 240, that the image was most likely taken using a webcam, and that the original image was a heavily compressed small thumbnail which was later blown up about 300% into the image we all know. Interestingly, the hairline, face shape, and mouth in JTK1 appeared to be unedited. In the years since this mystery caught traction, many photos of real people have been put forward as the basis for Jeff, but I can assure you, all of them have been thoroughly debunked. Since I last covered the hunt for the original Jeff image back in March 2022, there have been some huge developments. In January 2023, Mutaha of Some Ordinary Gamers offered a $10,000 reward to anyone who could find the source image, and Scare Theatre contributed a further $1,000. With further donations made by enthusiastic followers of the mystery, the total bounty now stands at $11,411 US. As a result, this year, the number of people hunting for the original image skyrocketed, and community participation reached an all-time high. Jeff was finally front-page news again, at least on Reddit and YouTube. It began to feel like a breakthrough was on the horizon. On April 28, 2023, Reddit user Eat Raw Skin was using PimEyes to track faces that resembled Jeff's when they stumbled upon a woman on the Japanese image board gazobox.com, a woman known only as Mariko. What made Eat Raw Skin's discovery noteworthy were the striking facial similarities between Mariko and JTK1. Her hairline, forehead, face shape, and mouth seemed to line up perfectly. But what really set Mariko apart from all of the other false leads was her reputation as a net idol in 2004. As discovered by users Prime, Lifted, Milk, and Eat Raw Skin, the earliest recorded mention of Mariko online dates back to a Futaba thread made on April 14th, 2004. She had gained something of a celebrity status in Japanese internet circles, due in large part to an online diet diary created and maintained by someone claiming to be her boyfriend. a man known as Suzakumaru, or simply Suza. The diary, which was hosted on a site called InfoSeek, chronicled Mariko's efforts to lose weight, and included photos and videos of her. Suza actively promoted her page on various websites, including Futaba, 5chan, and BBS Pink. This being the internet, Mariko unfortunately, yet inevitably, became the target of trolls, who began referring to her as their idol. But the type of harassment she suffered reportedly bordered on sadistic. It's unknown whether Mariko consented to this diet diary being made and disseminated online in the first place, or whether she was even aware of its existence and her new online fame. But what we do know is that Suza didn't present his girlfriend in the most flattering light. He even posted edits of her like this, seemingly mocking her appearance. Several witnesses who claim to have seen the videos he posted of Mariko say that she always appeared uncomfortable and disturbing. It seems likely that Suza was trying to profit off Mariko by turning her into an online laughingstock. If that was indeed his plan, then he was, to a certain degree, successful. Mariko received a huge amount of online hate, which came to a peak during a 3-day period in May 2004. Following this onslaught, more stable-minded people began accusing Suza of having an unstable relationship with Mariko, due in large part to how he kept posting cruelly captioned pictures of her, despite the overwhelmingly negative reception they received. A few even described the situation as a, quote, human rights violation, and called on others to report any photo of Mariko in order to have them scrubbed from the internet. This crusade proved to be extremely successful, and today, few confirmed, archived photos of the woman known only as Mariko exist online. But those that do still exist bear an undeniable resemblance to JTK1. Not only that, but surviving images of her boyfriend, Suza, also yield some interesting evidence. Notice the background of this shot in particular. The shoes and closet area line up perfectly with those seen in the Jeff the Killer image. Oh, and don't mind that eerie face in the top left. Suza was an avid Photoshop user, and frequently played around with version 5.1 to create paranormal images like this. Though not 100% confirmed, the evidence does suggest that Mariko is Jeff. Not only do her facial features and the background of Suza's room match up well with the JTK images, but the timeline also syncs up perfectly. The prevailing theory now is that the source photo used to create JTK1 was likely taken around May 2004, and was possibly a screen grab of an unarchived video recorded by Suza for the diary. The video, or at least the screen grab, was saved before the crackdown on posts featuring Mariko. Someone, possibly Suza himself, then modified that saved image and turned it into JTK1, or possibly an even earlier edit which hasn't been unearthed yet. Omegavolt then further edited the image, transforming it into JTK2, which Suza eventually stumbled upon somewhere and used for his creepypasta. Given that so much of Mariko's content was scrubbed from the internet, it's possible, perhaps even likely, that the source image has been irreversibly erased from the net, and unless internet detectives come across a new lead, we'll probably never get to see it. And perhaps that's a good thing. For most of us, this has just been a fun mystery to follow along with, and as cool as it would be to finally find the source image, it's possible that it could bring back some terrible memories for Mariko, assuming this is indeed her. Which raises the question, is it ethical to keep searching for it? To drag it out from whatever dark and rarely visited corner of the internet it may be hiding, and bring it to everyone's attention once again, all these years later? Maybe. Maybe not. But rest assured, if it is still out there somewhere, somebody will eventually find it. After all, there are more than 11,000 reasons to keep looking.
That's all, Zipsters! Like and subscribe.